You are about to listen to another episode of That Sports Guys podcast, hosted by Craig Forrestall. Find Craig on Twitter at that_sports_guy. The That Sports Guy podcast is proudly featured by NFL Draft Diamonds, your draft coverage king. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some football talk.
Hello and welcome to another player profile interview. I am Craig Forrestall. You know me from Twitter as at that_sports_guy. And today we have with us Slippery Rock wide receiver Henry Litwin. Henry, what's going on?
Oh, nothing much. It's a pleasure to be with you, Craig.
Hey, I appreciate it. I'm excited to talk a little ball, get to know a little bit about you and the Slippery Rock program. But we got to start off with where it all came about, Linesville, Pennsylvania. I did a little bit of research. Now, Lineville, I saw you're about an hour and a half away from Youngstown, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh. So just a little bit of an idea. Am I about right?
Yep. Right in the middle.
So take me through it. What's it like growing up in Linesville?
Oh, so Linesville, it's a small town. I mean, we got one stoplight, and it turns off after 9 o'clock. So put that into perspective. We just love our football here. It's just a competitive little town, just hard-working people. And, like I said, just football is a big deal here. Every Friday, the whole town comes together, and they go to watch the high school football games. And, where it really started with it for me, having all this support from my town, it means a ton to me. And even if they don't know it, it really does. And it really motivates me still today, just because I never forget where I came from.
And Henry, I got to ask you, you said the stoplight turns off after 9 p.m., so is it just turns like a flashing red or something like that? Yeah,
you get a flashing red, you get a flashing yellow. So, I mean, you'd be lucky if you even see somebody out after 9 o'clock here. Everybody's going to bed. We got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work.
And I want to stick there. You talked about the support of your town, and everyone's been behind you. But I saw you were also a little bit of a hooper back in high school. Scored over 1,000 career points. But my question for you with basketball is, I played football and basketball in high school, and me and my friends said there were always 3 reasons that football players played basketball. You either loved the game, you were trying to stay in shape, or you were just addicted to competition and you needed something to do during the winter. Which one was it for you?
Honestly, I'd have to say all 3. Like, I love basketball. It has a special spot in my heart. But at the same time, it didn't compete with football. So I would use it to my advantage and get in shape. And, because those winters are tough, especially up here up north towards Erie. But at the same time, I'm so competitive that I wasn't just going through the motions when I'm playing basketball in high school. If I'm doing something, I'm doing it to my full ability. And, I know some people probably get annoyed by it, but I'm too competitive. And everything I'm doing, I'm putting my all into it.
So you have any family stories about the competitive gene, like a backyard Thanksgiving game where you got the best of you and the cousins?
Oh, well, actually, I got an older brother. So growing up, I always looked up to him because he played football and he led the way for me. But then right around had been like my freshman year of high school, then it started shifting. I started to become the bigger brother. So and he was bullying me when I was young, but then packed on a good 20, 30 pounds and grew 4 inches, and then it was over for him. But no, he honestly has made me into the player I am today, and I can't thank him enough.
And Henry, as you were going through your recruiting process, I saw you talk to a wide range of schools. You talked to a whole host of Division II schools. You were in conversation with Youngstown State for a while. But ultimately, you walked on at Slippery Rock. Was it tough to leave some of your other options, or no? Were you willing to bet on yourself and the chance you had at Slippery Rock?
Yeah, it definitely tough. Every kid's dream is to go to a Division I school out of high school. You want to compete against the best because you think you are the best. So out of high school, it really wasn't happening for me. I was talking to teams, but they showed interest, but it wasn't fully there. And then actually I had to turn down a full ride to these other Division II schools, and that honestly made me physically sick. I'm getting offered all this money, and then the school I really want to go to, Slippery Rock, they don't have money to offer. And, you can't blame them for that. It's just a tough situation. But I went on my visit to Slippery Rock, and I just fell in love, The coaches really sold it well. Like, they were speaking about a national championship. That's the goal. That's the end goal at Slippery Rock every year. And just the talent and the PSAC attracted me. If I'm not going to make it to the D1 schools and compete against the best, I'm going to the best Division II school. And where Slippery Rock's located, just north of Pittsburgh, you get a lot of D1 transfers. So, that's something that attracted me. I was like, okay, I can still play against these D1 athletes to prove that I'm capable. So it was special for me to choose Slippery Rock, even though I had to walk on, which was not easy for me or my family, and, the amount of sacrifices I've had to make and my family. It just, I don't know, it makes it a little more special.
And Henry, I want to stick with another Division II wide receiver that I've seen your name paired up with a little bit online, and that's Adam Thielen. Now I'm going to take you through some of the comparisons and the story and how it all comes together, and then I'll ask you how you feel about it. So basically, you and Adam Thielen are the exact same size. You walked on. He had a $500 scholarship to Minnesota State. In Adam Thielen's career, he had 198 receptions for 2,802 yards and 20 touchdowns. So far, you're at 154 receptions for 2,350 yards and 29 touchdowns. When you hear people start talking about you in comparisons to Adam Thielen and your stories and things like that, is that something you just smile at and say that's nice to hear and you keep it moving, keep working because you're your own player? Or is that someone that you go back and then say, let me watch some more film, let me see if I can steal some things from his game and make myself a better receiver?
Honestly, it is a special thing to be compared to somebody like Adam Thielen. He's an unreal athlete, just has a similar come up that I'm in right now. I mean, I can imagine his struggles that he went through. And I have watched Adam Thielen's film. I've definitely stole things from Adam Thielen. I watch all the NFL players. I try to steal everything from everybody. But it is special to be compared to somebody like him, his caliber. But at the same time, I'm me. I'm different. I like the comparisons, but at the end of the day, I'm still a different player, and I have different things I can bring to the table than Adam Thielen. So, yeah, I know. You just got to move on with it. I try not to focus too much on those things just because it's easy to talk about, but it's all about what you do on the field.
And now let's stick to that on the field. I'm going to read you a scouting report that I was able to get my hands on. And I'm going to read to you some of the notes that they had on there. Great feet, balance and awareness, calculated, strong athlete with strong but soft hands, has great concentration, athletic with solid leaping ability, plays the sideline well, consistent in making hand catches, solid red zone target, and works the field well. Would you agree that pretty much sums up your game?
Yeah, I mean, I think my hands are the big part, I think that's what makes me who I am. We measured them out this year just for scouting and such, and it's close to 10 inches per hand. So, I'm not a 6'5" player, but I got the hands of a 6'5" player.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a special thing that God blessed me with, and I use it to my advantage. But, yeah, it's cool to hear the scouting report and everything. I still have to get 10 times better in every aspect. So, I can definitely run better routes. I can get faster. I can get quicker. I can jump higher. But I'm working on that, and with all this stuff going on with COVID, I'm get a little extra time to work on it, which can only help me.
And you talked about the sacrifices that you, your family, and those close to you have made along the way with your decision to walk on. Maybe if you could just take us through day one when you arrived at Slippery Rock as a walk-on up to now where you earned All-American honors. And in 2019, you were second in the nation in receiving touchdowns, receiving yards, and catches for all Division II athletes. Just when you hear that and think about your ride, what's it been like?
Really emotional, even just talking about it, just gets to me. When I came to Slippery Rock as a freshman, as a walk-on, talked to my family, I was like, if you can support me through this, I'll earn a scholarship for us, and you won't have to worry about it. And, I just did everything I possibly could as a freshman, just get noticed, really. I played my role. I understood that I had to wait my time. I had to get redshirted, but I challenged the starters, and I think they would agree with me when I say that. They know that if I was lining up against them, it wasn't going to be easy, So right off the bat at Slippery Rock, I was going all out, and it definitely turned some heads. And that following year, Coach Lutz brought me in and said, we love you, and we're gonna put you on scholarship. And that was one of the biggest moments, in my college career, and just being able to tell my family that, I earned a scholarship. I did what I set out to do. That was special. But then that was only the first step. Getting a scholarship, check. Now it was time to get on the field, and it was time to break records and win games. And finally got my opportunity to come in, and I just clicked with my teammates, and then having a man like Roland Rivers pass me the ball, he made my job easier. He trusted me even in tight windows and stuff. He just gave me an opportunity, and I didn't want to disappoint. And being surrounded by other great receivers also helped me, like Jermaine Wynn, Q Sweeting, just a couple of my teammates who are just tremendous, and they work just as hard as I do, but they helped me to really up my level, and they challenged me to be a better player and a better person, and I respect them for that, and I can't thank them enough.
And Henry, I want to pick your brain on two things that you said. You talked about the rest of the talent at the wide receiver position on roster, and we'll get to that. But I want to stick with what you said first about your quarterback, Roland Rivers. He was the Division II National Player of the Year last season, and it's always a big deal when you have to replace the quarterback. But when you lose a player like Roland Rivers and everything that he meant to the offense and the numbers he put up over the past couple of seasons, what is the offense looking like? Well,
losing Roland as a player is bad, but then when you lose him as a friend, as a leader, that honestly means more to the team. He really brought us together. He changed the culture. We worked every day, every night during the summer just to get better, which is dreams. That's all we talked about was just talking about the season coming up. And he always told me, he's like, I'm going to get you 1,000 yards. I'm going to get you the receptions. And I was like, just help us win games, Roland, and I'll be happy, But to lose him, it's hard. It is hard. But he created something here at Slippery Rock that's special. And us other players contributed to that. So we're bringing in great athletes, and, we're only getting better. We love Roland, and if we could get him back from their year, we would. But we got to move forward. But it's a good thing. We got two great quarterbacks coming in, competing. So it's going to be interesting between those two. But just they're, like I said, just great athletes, and they'll pick up where Roland left off, and hopefully we get another Division II Heisman winner.
And now let's go to some of that other talent on the roster. You mentioned a couple of other wide receivers. How competitive is that group? And maybe if you just take me through some of the competitions that you all have, whether it's catching balls out of the jug machine or different things like that.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, Jermaine Wynn, Q Sweet. Those are my two guys. They're just tremendous workers. Jermaine has an engine. He has a motor that just won't end, like energy all the time. And, you can feed off of that. And then you got a player like Q who's transferred to Slippery Rock, and it was almost like he was the missing piece for us. And he came in and fit in right away, You don't hear his name like you would Jermaine and mine, but he's just as important. And the things that he did for us just last year is just unbelievable. And I always tell him just so he doesn't think that he's not to our caliber, because he is. He's a real athlete, and he's gonna shine this year. I know he will. But yeah, it's super competitive. I mean, even when Jermaine transferred in, right off the bat, they made us lifting partners, and that's where it started. It was like, okay, Jermaine benched this much. Okay, well, I gotta add a plate, and then when you get on the field, it's just there's just so much more, If I score a touchdown, I know next drive Jermaine's gonna score one, and then if he scores one, we can't end in a tie, so it's back to me. So it'll never interfere with the team or winning games, because that's our goal. That's what we fell in love with Slippery Rock, because we want to win, and we want to compete for that national championship. But you can have fun while you're getting there, and we always challenge each other, and whether it's lifting, whether it's running sprints, or in a game making touchdowns or catches or anything, we're always competing.
And now let's stick here. Let's talk about the goals for the upcoming season, because if you guys are pushing yourselves so much, I'm sure there's individual goals and team goals that you've laid out.
Yeah, for sure. Last year, my goal was to make it first all-PSAC, and I did that and some. So I became an All-American and an academic All-American at the same time, which honestly, in my opinion, means a lot more, just because it just, as a student athlete, people don't talk about the school aspect in it, especially with like high caliber football teams and such. But it's not easy to excel in the classroom and on the field, and still have your social life and such as well. And it's not easy, and that's something people have to learn over the years in college. But yeah, just an academic All-American is probably my biggest accomplishment in my opinion. But this next year, individually, I want to get better in every aspect. Like you said, I finished second in catches, receiving yards, and touchdowns.
Yep.
Next year, let's make it first in all those aspects. But the number one goal is the national championship. So, if I have to sacrifice my own personal stats and goals, so be it. That's the whole goal, is to win the national championship, and that'll never change. And we definitely have the team to do it. We got a sour taste in our mouth from last year. It ended not how we wanted it to, obviously. But, that's not going to stop us. We're going to use it as motivation, and I think everybody's going to see us this next year, and they're going to see how much better we got, and we're not going to stop till we get there.
And Henry, we spent a lot of time talking about you, the Slippery Rock program, and your accomplishments. And now I want to transition to some off the field things, and I'm going to hit you with the first question, and that is, what's that song you're embarrassed to admit you like?
It's actually funny you say that because I've been getting yelled at by my friends all week because I've been playing the song 20 times over and over again. They hate it. But it's what's love got to do with it? And I played that song 20 times. I'm not kidding, just this past weekend. And I'm just getting dirty looks by all my friends because they know if I get on the aux, I'm going to play it.
Well, I'm going to spare everyone my singing voice, but I'm with you. I can go word for word, lyric for lyric to that song, and I am not embarrassed to admit it. So, Henry, let's go ahead. Let's scoot on over to the dream car. In the ideal world, what are you driving?
Oh, whew. Honestly, I'd probably have to go with the Camaro. You know, I'd deck out the Camaro. But, you know, it's tough up here up north, like I was talking about, with all that snow and stuff. I'd almost have to get a truck if I had to pick. But, no, my dream car would probably be a Camaro, and I'd definitely rock it. That's for sure.
And what's been your most interesting or memorable class?
Most memorable class? It's a tough one. There's been some good ones. Probably military experience at Slippery Rock. That's a special class, and I know everybody in Slippery Rock will know what I'm talking about when I bring it up.
So, for those of us that aren't from Slippery Rock, could you fill us in on the secret, or are we going to get you in trouble?
Okay, so to put into perspective, so you go over, you get to learn how to read a map and such, and just learn a bunch of the military things. But our professor, he does a great job, but he's a really funny guy. Somebody got caught with their phone, and that's pretty much the last thing you want to do. So he'd bring them up and have them just do something from the whole class. He'll stop everything and just, you know, make a point of it. But, you know, it was all in good fun. But, you know, it was just a fun class, and I really enjoyed it.
And then, Henry, what's the best restaurant close to the Slippery Rock campus?
Oh, that's a tough one. I might get in trouble if I pick one over the other, but probably Ginger Hill. It's like the only bar in Slippery Rock. So, you know, everybody goes there all the time, but it's, you know, it's great food, great atmosphere, and, yeah, you'll catch us there on Saturday nights after a game.
And now, if you won $1 million and could only donate it to one cause or one charity, what would it be?
It'd have to be Wounded Warrior. You know, my dad was in the Navy and everything, and, you know, our military, like, and our veterans and everything, like, they're the true heroes, and I could give back in some way, I would. And, you know, if I am blessed with a bunch of money, you know, I'm going to give back to them.
That's awesome. That's very powerful. Thank you for that, Henry. And before we get out of here, I'm going to give you a chance just to let our listeners know, what is that one final thing we need to be on the lookout for with the Slippery Rock team this season?
One last thing for Slippery Rock, you know, disappointed that, I mean, everybody saw, but the PSAC we canceled the season, so I mean everybody's gonna have to wait a little bit. But I'd say get ready for this passing game this next year, because we're gonna crank it up a notch. You got all returning receivers, and we're only getting better. We're only getting bigger, faster, stronger. So that's a warning to other teams too. But now as a fan, just get ready. We have a great offensive team. You know, our defense kills it too. But, yeah, get ready for the passing game if you like football.
You heard it here from Henry Litwin. The Slippery Rock offense is going to come out firing all cylinders. The passing game is going to be on point. You might have to wait a little bit for it, but once you finally get it, you're going to be happy you waited. For Henry Litwin, I'm Craig Forrestall. Until next time, stay safe and be easy.
Hey everybody, Craig Forrestall. Thanks for tuning in and listening to another episode of That Sports Guys podcast. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at @that_sports_guy to catch all the latest updates and podcast episodes. Until next time, stay safe and be easy.